Hello, this is Jerry. In this video, I will show you how to create a button in CSS. So to begin, we begin inside the style tag. Inside the style tag, we will have two elements, tag elements with their properties and values. And as you can see inside the body, we already had it set up two tags already: the div element and the button element. And we will compare the two. One, the div element, we'll need everything that you need to to create your button, or make it more like a button. And for the button tag, is a button already set up in HTML that set up most of its features to look like a button by default. So in HTML, so for example, its borders is set up in 3D. Its color is automatically set up to the point where it's by default from a grayish color, and so forth. And so inside the style tag, we have, like we said, the div element. That's what we're targeting. Selector, div element selector, and we need to give its width, of course, the height, 80 pixels, and give it a background color if you want, and then orange. Give us the border, 2 pixels. The border size is 2 pixels, and then we have the border color will be button face, which is the default value, the border color value of the button tag as well. So I would like to match these the button with the div in some respect. Now we need a border style. We call this outset. The outset is a three-dimensional border looking figure out surrounding the shape or element in 3D. One on the left corner, on the left side, there's a lighter shade, and the right side is a darker shade. Yeah, and then I'll show you that once I show you the web page. So then we need a border radius. We can have a border radius. This is a radius is where each corner of the div is curved, and this is more like it's more like an arc shape in every corner to make it appear more round. And that's how and typically that's common, and as you see in most buttons, they're round in shape and they have a curve around, just like as you see on your keyboard, your computer keyboard. You see each corner has a border radius, has an arc, an arc length. And we'll give this, I'll say 20%. And you can play with different units, such as also with other you can use pixels and some other units that's available in CSS. So let's see. Now we want to have the div display as a table element, so that it can behave like a table in a way that I can use the vertical align property to set the content in the middle. By default, the button tag has already centered the content both horizontally and vertically built in. So, but for the div, we have to specify what we want, how we want to align our content or text. So, because vertical align property only works with the table elements, table elements and inline elements. Then I like to set the font size to 30 point font, and then the color, so give it a white color. So now for the div, I need to give it a text. I'm gonna call this play, or in button I'll do the same. Call this pause. So, and then another thing I would like to have the button to do is resize itself. So when the user mouse over the div element, it will enlarge. So to do that, we'll use the colon hover selector. So say div colon hover, and I will also want the button tag to have the same effect. So button hover. Remember, don't forget to put a comma when you're separating. Once you want to have elements to have the same properties and values. So now we have curly braces. Okay, so inside we'll set that the width. Let's give it additional 20 pixels for the width and the height. So that's 140 pixels in the height. That's 100 pixels. And then I want a cursor to change when the user mouse over the button to a pointer hand, a hand figure that points. And there's many other types of cursors as well, and yeah. As you please, but the pointer is more common for a user to interact with the button to see if that element or in the area within that web page is clickable or some sort of a link to mouse over. So now for the button, let's scroll down. For the button, you state the button tag element selector. We need to describe its properties and values. Give this a width of 120 pixels, the same as the div element, and a height 80 pixels. And the background color, let's give this let's say blue. Then I like to separate, since the button tag is right below the div element, so close, I would like to give a margin and so you give a little bit of space. I mean, just for tutorial purposes of this video. But you know, so 30 pixels or so, and give the border radius is the same as the div element, 20%. Then let's see. Okay, the font size for the text of that button, 25 point font. See, give its color of the text, it's white. Okay, go ahead and save it. Then we can go run it. Go launch in Chrome. See, okay, got one thing. Let's go back to the code. In the side of the div, we need to. It's centered vertically in the middle, but it needs to be centered horizontally. The text, so the text align center. Okay, now we go back and save. We'll run, launching back to Chrome. Now centered. So as you can see, with the mouse, you see the cursor has changed to the pointer, that pointer hand, and as well as the button tag for the blue. And you can see the edge. If we let's see, let's get a little bigger. As you can see, the edge, lighter shade and a darker shade around the div element button. And same with, let's see, same with the button tag, the lighter shade and the darker shade. So let me press F12. Okay, now I'll show you what I mean for the of the button that has already the border style has what else? Yeah, it doesn't have the border radius, just that. I think border style and border color mainly. Let me see. Let's go and find this. Let's see the button tag. Let's scroll down. Use a little scroll thing here. Scroll this up a bit. Let's see. So as you can see border color. We never set the border color for button. If we go back to our button tag, see, we never set the border color. No border color. So we go back and we have the border style, as you see here, the outset. Maybe it's too small. Let me hold up. Let's see. No, that's right. It's yeah, the border style right here. And then we have the button face for the color. And then let me see. Oh, let's see. The border width. We never set the border width. As you can see, we never set the border width because that's already default. So that's 3. The border width, the border color, the border style is default. It's the default behavior or default properties and values for the button tag. But for the div tag, we have to specify those three if we wanted those to act to mimic the button tag that HTML has given us. See, so let's go let's go into the div element. You can always play, let's go to div. So like we can always play with the border radius. You go lower it down. If we go to have no border radius, it would be 0% or 0 pixels. It will be straight, like, you know, no rounded corners. And as you go up in pixels or percentages, the border radius increases. As the border radius increases, the arc length increases to the point where it gets, you know, it gets closer and closer and closer to a perfect circle. And I'll talk about that more in another video about circles and other shapes. This concludes our lesson. Thank you for watching. We have completed our lesson. You are welcome to subscribe, comment, and share. You may go to the discussion area for the requests about any web programming lessons or projects you would like me to show you.